This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and in this video we're going to check out the Bellroy Classic Sling 7 liter, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. Let's dive in. I don't know what it is, but every time I try to say this sling's name, I call it the Bellroy Classic Lang. I don't know what about it that is making me do that, but the intro took me a very long time. So the primary pack material we're working with here is recycled polyester. It's got like an inherent padding to it, which is pretty nice. So as we'll get to, there isn't really a back panel per se, but there is some padding from the material, which is kind of comfortable all around. And you can also kind of wear this sling either way. So it kind of adds padding whichever way you're wearing it. Typically I wear it with the zipper side on the back, which again, we're gonna get to, and I forgot to close that zipper. So that's a little bit embarrassing, but overall pretty happy with the materials. In light rain, it's gonna do all right. But if you get caught in a heavier rain, it's going to just kind of soak up that moisture and get a little bit heavy in it. Not the end of the world, but if you're caught in light rain, I would head for cover or try to get this covered at least. So there are olive. So when it comes to colorways, there is olive, which is this one, and then make sure I get the other ones right: black, butterscotch, and tahini. So there are a few unique colorways, and obviously you can just go with black or something like that if you want something a bit more minimalistic. Pretty happy with those. We also had leather accents on all of these. So in typical Bellroy fashion, we've got some classy materials. You got it on there on the front, and then on the zipper pulls as well on the main compartment here. We have some leather as well. So it's like a nice touch from Bellroy. It's kind of what we know them for, at least originally. I mean, a lot of people know them for slings and stuff like that now, but their wallets and stuff like that are all very high quality leather wallets. So nice to see those touches on the sling here. The zippers are from two different brands. This main zipper here is from OOK, or I believe it's OOK or OKK. Which one is it? Let me make sure. OOK. I always get, because YKK, I always want to say OKK. It's OOK. And I think it works very well. No problems with it opening and closing. I will say that the teeth are a little bit rough. So I guess I can't really show you that they're rough, but they're just like metal. So they're like, you just feel it when you're sticking your hand in and out of this compartment. So not the end of the world. It's just some people are more sensitive to stuff like that. It doesn't bother me. But the other zippers on this thing are from YKK. So you have the OK on the main compartment, then you have the YKK elsewhere on the inside and on this back zipper here, which we're gonna go over as well. So pretty happy with those materials. We also have some metal hardware on the strap here. So pretty good materials all throughout, but that's kind of what we've come to expect from Bellroy. They use high quality materials. They also look very like classy. Like, I'm not a very classy person, and I almost felt like while I was wearing this, this is too classy for me. But I think it's just kind of heritage styled as well. Like, it's just got a very nice look to it. I've got it packed out pretty big right now, but it does gusset on the sides here, so you can make it look a little bit smaller, which we'll get into once we get into the inside and I take some of the stuff out. So things are pretty basic on the harness system, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes harness systems get a little too gummed up on slings, and I think this does a very good job of having features but not getting in the way. So as I mentioned earlier, you can really wear this on either side because if we have this strap here where the strap connects to, so basically like a loop on either side here where the strap can connect to. And this makes it so it can come either way, like this way, or from the back to the front. So you could wear it this way or flip it around and you could wear it this way. So typically, because there is a zipper on the back here, I wear it that way, but they also have included a little accent here. Got the Bellroy owl there. So like either way you wear it, it does kind of look correct. And I like that. So it's just a little bit more versatility, and you can, especially if you're left-handed or right-handed, you can wear it any which way, and you're gonna be able to wear this pretty comfortably. But as I mentioned, there is no like back panel or anything like that. There is some inherent padding in this material, but no back panel or padding or mesh or anything that is like a designated back panel. So some people might not like that, and if you don't pack this bag smartly, you can kind of start smartly. If you don't pack this bag smart, you can kind of feel things bulging a little bit, but as long as, especially if you're wearing it with the back pocket on this side and you put something flat here, you're typically gonna be pretty comfortable. It's just gonna kind of rest on your front or back nicely. But if you have something like large shaped like in this back pocket, it's gonna just feel uncomfortable, not super uncomfortable, or you're not gonna wanna wear it, you're just going to feel it. So no padding or aeration on the strap, but it is very wide, so it kind of spreads out the weight a little bit. And pretty happy with it overall. Sometimes these metal pieces can dig in depending on where you have them situated, but you can normally move these around to make it so it's not hurting you or anything like that. But overall pretty happy with it, but no padding or aeration if you're into that. If you're finding this video helpful, make sure you throw a like on the video, drop a comment down below about what you would do with this sling, and subscribe to the channel so we can continue making content like this to help you travel smarter. So this is how I typically wore it. on my front, so then I have good access to the main compartment. I can pull things out, and you'll see what I have in there in just a minute. And you can tighten it, loosen it, depending on how you want to. Typically, if you watch this channel, you know I typically wear my slings like closer up here, but because this is a much bigger sling at 7 liters, it's just a little bit too big for me to feel comfortable wearing it like that. It just kind of almost felt suffocating, whereas with a smaller sling, I typically wear between a 1/2 liter and a 3 liter sling. That feels a little bit more comfortable riding up high. But when I was cycling this bag, I did tighten it up a little bit when it was on my back, because right now it's just a little bit too low on my back. Sorry if I hit the mic there just for a moment, but a little bit too low and it bounces around a little bit. So when I was cycling with this, I would tighten it up and kind of just bring it up here like that. So it's not the easiest sling to tighten while you're wearing it. You obviously can do it, but because of how minimalistic these straps are, it's just a little bit harder to do, but you can do it if you want to. As you can see, I'm struggling with it now. So I've got just 2 compartments to work with here, and I kind of like that because it's a bigger sling and I want to be able to put larger items in there, and because there aren't a bunch of compartments, the main compartment is massive, so you can fit big and large gear inside of there. So the secondary compartment here is this flat pocket on the back. I just got my phone stowed inside there right now. Not a huge pocket, as you can see, comes all the way to the corners, but it's just not a huge perimeter, you know what I'm trying to say. Math is not my strong suit. It's just not a huge footprint, I guess that's probably the right word to use there. So you can fit, like if you had a very small tablet or something, you might be able to fit it inside of there, but typically this is for passport, phone, maybe some travel documents. And it's also, if you're going to be wearing it with this like towards your body on the back side, it offers a little bit of protection as well, because it's just resting against you, and it'd be really, really hard for someone, even if you're wearing this on your back, to get into this pocket compared to the main compartment. So pretty good storage for flat items, but other than that, it doesn't really have a ton of purpose. If you're trying to put something large in there, it's really not going to work. And just it'll look a little bit weird too, because there's not a ton of depth here. So if you were to put something even just like a little bit bigger, it's going to kind of poke out like my fingers were just doing there. So inside the main compartment, I have quite a bit of larger gear stored inside of here right now. I have my large Audio-Technica headphones. So typically these just go inside of my backpack that I come to and from work with, but I was able to actually stow these inside of here, which is pretty surprising even for a 7-liter sling, because these are very big headphones. Typically, if I'm bringing over-ear headphones inside of a sling, I have another pair of Audio-Technica headphones that are much smaller. These are really head huggers. The other ones are a bit smaller, and that's typically what I have to use, but I can bring these because there is enough space inside of here. Got my wallet stowed inside of here as well, the Chum Surf Shorts wallet. And then we also have our 3D printed Nintendo Switch 1, not the 2. We have not 3D printed a 2. I've actually never held a 2 yet, so I cannot vouch for whether or not it'll fit inside of here. But you have quite a bit of space for just everyday essentials, but also like a little bit extra. So if you are like commuting to work and you want some entertainment, you could have Bluetooth headphones that can connect to your Nintendo Switch, and you could also have like a charging, a power brick inside of here, and a bunch of cables and stuff like that. You really can fit a ton of gear, and if you're traveling or you're on the airplane, you can do the same thing. You can really have a comfortable setup with large gear instead of bringing more smaller gear that, you know, instead of bringing like an emulator and a pair of small headphones, you can bring the big stuff and have a big screen. Probably fit a Steam Deck in here as well. So on the back, now that you can see that we have the gear out of there, you can see a little bit more of the organization inside of here. So on the back wall, I just have a tablet that is currently dead, a Kindle, in the back pocket here. As you can see, there is a fair bit of space there, and this is one of the smaller Kindles, but as you can see, it fits inside of there, and you probably could fit a larger tablet, but it is going to like hang out a little bit. So if you have like an iPad or something like that, it might fit inside of here depending on the size, but it's going to hang out a little bit there. So no magnets or anything to my knowledge to hold this here. I can't feel them in there, and it doesn't really snap or anything, but there is a piece of like plastic inside of here. So that adds a little bit of support and just makes it easier to open and close that. And then we've got some, in typical Bellroy fashion, a little bit of fun information on the inside there, and just like some motivation for life and travel and stuff like that. So on the front side, we have this mesh pocket, which I really dig. I liked it a lot when I was using this more for a travel focus, because I was able to pull all my like dongles and stuff like that. So basically when I took this on a trip up to my mom's house, I kind of use it as my tech pouch and my sling, because there is so much room inside of there, and I wasn't bringing a ton of like entertainment because I was going to help out with moving and stuff like that. So I just had like my power bank, and then I put all like my cables and dongles and stuff like that that I needed for my computer inside of this mesh pocket. So it isn't a huge pocket, but because it is mesh, you can fit larger items inside of here. So you could fit a bunch of small gear, or a couple medium things, or maybe just 1 or 2 larger items inside of there. So I really like that, because it doesn't take up a ton of space when you don't have a bunch of stuff in there, but you can fit a bunch of larger items in, or a bunch of smaller items in there if you want to. But the rest of this pocket is just really big open area. We do have a key leash here, which is fairly long, so you're probably gonna be able to open up some doors with this or locks with this, depending on where they're oriented on the door. And if you're not using it, you can kind of just shove it behind here in this back pocket, which is what I typically did because I have the Chum Surf Shorts wallet and my keys are attached to the wallet. But I could attach my wallet there if I wanted a little bit of extra security. So in this main compartment, it does have a gusset on the sides, as I mentioned, so it kind of like folds in like this when you don't have a ton of gear inside of there. This also makes it pretty easy to stow it inside of a bag if you're bringing this with you. It's not the most packable bag, obviously, because it's not a packable bag, but it does kind of fold up nicely. I think this looks best when it's at least 1/3 of the way full. And overall, I'm pretty happy with how the materials have held up and how much gear I'm able to fit inside of here, but it is a bit bigger than some people would like for a travel sling, but it is incredibly comfortable and you can fit a lot of gear in it, so keep that in mind. So there you have it, the Bellroy Classic Sling 7 liter. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.